Hello everyone, and welcome to another News Coolum video. Welcome to the Loop. The Loop is essentially a sort of route that I've mapped out where it gives a huge coverage of the different public charging providers, different charging hardware. So I'm going to do a big loop essentially around the San Francisco Bay Area. This initial run I'm doing is more of a proof of concept. I'm using my 2017 Chevrolet Bolt EV. I still have the original battery with over 150,000 miles on it. So this should be a really good test because over the years of using public charging infrastructure, the Bolt EV has been bulletproof, right? It's been highly compatible with most other charging hardware, charging providers. And what I'm looking for is compatibility issues. I'm not really necessarily looking for speed issues, but that could be something that comes up in the future. But activation times, things like that, just overall accessibility to paint maybe a broader picture of the public charging infrastructure that's available. Now, I'm not necessarily going to be able to hit every charger along the way. You know, this is a Saturday, so things could be busy in the San Francisco Bay Area. I might come to charging sites that are completely full or whatever. So I didn't even bother charging last night, plugging in. I'm leaving with half battery. It's not even an issue because I'm planning so many different charging stops along the way. We're already burning daylight. This is going to be a long loop, not really going for speed or any of those other tests, efficiency, anything else. I'm just driving. So yeah, let's get ready to head out. It's almost 9 a.m. and let's hit the road. All right, well, here we are at the rest area. This is a BTC Power L3R. Now, it looks like this screen is a little bit fritzy. So someone screwed with the plug, but let's see. Should have done that first. And then there we see. So it's initiating. It's kind of fuzzy to see with that screen, but yeah, you can tell from the time it'll take to initiate. It's kind of burned out there. It's like someone was pressing a lot of these buttons or holding them down. But it's already active and already charging. So you have very, very short time to activate and charge, and it works, you know, just fine. All right, so here we are at a Caltrans rest stop. This is a BTC Power L3R charger. I think the R stands for regular, maybe. It's the big boxy charger that you see EVgo use a lot, Connect use a lot of government agencies use this. Now, I apologize for the screen there. When I activated this charger, well, first of all, the screen was kind of fritzy. It looks like it's maybe sun damaged a little bit. I recommend anybody who's, you know, installing chargers, don't install the interface facing south, right? You're gonna burn it out. It doesn't really matter what charging provider or what charging hardware you use. You're gonna burn out the interface by facing it south unless it's covered, right? Which these clearly are not. So the interface was burned out a little bit, and then someone had pulled the red emergency stop. You saw without the need for like an activation or an account how quickly this started up. It was just a matter of seconds. I might need to use the bathroom really quick, and then we're gonna head out. Like I said, I'm hitting so many chargers, I don't need to dwell at any one place for very long. Okay, Google, Carl's Jr.
Sure, I'm setting your destination to Carl's Jr. in Williams.
All right, so this is the BTC Power L3S. Now, I stopped here in Williams because, you know, it's fairly early on, but, you know, I just realized that these are actually still fairly uncommon as far as EVgo chargers are concerned. And so when you I just want to make sure that I'm encountering them where they are. So notice it's authorized, no hand holding that REMA CCS plug, and it's initiating. It really doesn't take that long, so it's already charging, right? From the moment you swipe your EVgo RFID card to the point that, yep, green light's ticking, so it's already charging. Active charging here, 45 kilowatts. This is a 125 amp charger, so that's pretty much what you're expecting. See, the L3S is a lot more slim. Same, 125 amp max power. L3S is the designation, the model designation for BTC Power. So yeah, that was super quick, super fast activation times, no issues here. It should be the same inner functioning as the L3R, but I don't know. I haven't heard issues with these chargers in the same way that I've heard that there were issues with the L3S. And the L3S is often 100 amp only, and these ones can be, like this one is a 100 amp max charger, and I think I have verified that it's only outputting 40 kilowatts versus the 125 or the true 50 kilowatt version here. So I really don't know about the internal differences between this L3S unit and the L3R unit that I just used at the rest stop. But like I said, I think we're done here. All right, well, we're here at a ChargePoint CPE250. Now they have it listed as a 100. I'll have to check the placard to make sure that that's correct. Yeah, it does look like it's on. So you can just do this, right? And then it will authorize. But I've found that it actually works really, really well either way. These are extremely light cables, but I have to do that too, Rima. All right, and then, yep, waiting for it to start. Tap to end. Some people will tap prematurely and then actually end the session. But this is a free station too, so let's see. Yeah, so it's our okay. So it took a little while longer to start. Maybe I think I can't tell if that was trying to say it was 45 seconds, but yeah, it is already charging. Now these are slower chargers. The thing is with this is one of the original chargers in Northern California. When the Bolt EV first came out, basically north of Sacramento, your only options were these 24 kilowatt CCS chargers. Now they do make them with a CHAdeMO adapter, but it's really only one plug, and they're limited to about 20 to 22 kilowatts max speed. So a car like the Bolt EV, 60 kilowatt hour battery pack, would take about 3 hours to fill to full. So these were really more appropriate for either smaller battery pack EVs like the Chevrolet Spark EV, or if you were going to be at the location for a while, maybe a sports bar, stopping for a long dinner. But this was sort of an iconic stop, this Carl's Jr. here in Williams, because this was one of the few ways that you could actually make it from Southern California up into Oregon and Washington 5 years ago. So, okay, see, so now here, this is the actual maker. This is and I've heard this, I've heard them listed as IES, but these are Bosch units. So, so they're saying 32 amps max, output, yeah, up to 460 volts DC at 55 amps. So, yeah, so, and these numbers make sense. Like I said, about 22, 24 kilowatts max that you're going to see out of these ChargePoint Express 100s, as they're calling them, as they're relabeling them, but they are Bosch IES units. I feel like even though these are slower chargers, there is still a place for these in the modern world of electric vehicles, where, you know, this is still as fast or a little bit faster than the fastest level 2 AC chargers, and it's, you know, more efficient than those because it's running DC power directly rather than the AC converter. If we want to hop in just really quick and so I can show you, yeah, see 22 kilowatts. Save this for someone who's going to eat at Carl's Jr. All right, well, we're here at a ChargePoint at a Chevron station. Great place for a charger, not necessarily a great place for a 50 kilowatt charger. These are the Tritium units. So these are made in Australia. They're limited to 125 amps. Let's see, charger, Airbird, Let's see if it does anything now. Authorized. Yeah, so I don't know if I flipped the emergency switch. Maybe that had something to do with it. Ready, and then, yeah, I don't know if people have been, yeah, and then just immediately started charging. So let's see. Nope. So it is having a fault error. So, all right, well, so we'll have to make sure we do another Tritium charger. But yeah, so I thought maybe someone had tripped it because just resetting that seemed to work. But yeah, we'll note it in plug share and see if they can come fix it. But yeah, so that's a black mark for ChargePoint right there. But we have bigger fish to fry, so let's keep moving. All right, so we're at a Electrify America charger. I had to go hands-free again for this one, just because I need both hands to actually hold up the cable and activate the charger. It is showing it as active and available, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. Now, depending on which cable you use, you might have to loop it around one way or the other. Like I said, for the Bolt EV, there's a bit of a finicky charge port, so just trying to get it loaded so it holds in place. It will connect to vehicle. Now, what I've found for the Bolt EV specifically is you can't let it try to activate before it's connected to the vehicle. So you need to let it connect to the vehicle first. I think that's where a lot of people are running into issues. I just swiped to activate just a second ago. So we'll see how long it takes, or if it errors out, or, well, it does what it does. I'm not here to judge, I'm here to gather data. And we're charging. At this point, you can generally let go of the cable. If you let it go too quickly or you drop it off, sometimes it will kill the charge. And this is freezing on that screen. Again, slow interface. Doesn't really matter what's happening on the charger interface. What matters is the car charging. And so right now we're charging at 53 kilowatts. No problem. So while we're here and I'm hands-free, this is another one of the 350 kilowatt ABB units, just like that one. We can look at either one. But yeah, ABB was sort of the staple, at least for Electrify America's first run of DC fast chargers in California. So these units are 500 amp DC fast charging units. Oh man, it looks like they took the placards off the 350 kilowatt ones. I don't know why they're missing here. But you can see it's a DC output up to 350 amps max, but this is the 150 kilowatt unit. Whereas these 350 kilowatt units, it is a 500 amp max, and that's really important because, you know, I see a lot of people with like the 800 volt charging EVs wanting priority for this, but there's a lot of EVs that charge at 500 amps or close to it. You know, whether you're talking about like the Mustang Mach-E, the Cadillac Lyriq will be one of them. Some of the German cars do. So having access to these 500 amp chargers, the Ford F-150 Lightning and the Rivian R1T are another couple that are going to be really important for them to have access to these 350 kilowatt chargers too, because they're also pulling 500 amps. So they might only be a 400 volt system, but in order for them to pull max amps, they need to have a 350 kilowatt charger access to it. Those 350 amp, 150 kilowatt chargers just won't be enough. But anyway, America's Best Value in, Jack in the Box, done again. We got to hit the road. All right, well, we're here at this new EVgo station in Vacaville. Now, I haven't had a chance to use these these are Delta DC city chargers, I believe is what they're referred to. So last time I had an issue where there was no apparent place to tap my RFID card, and I wasn't sure whether I was activating it correctly. So let's see. So CCS. But this is definitely an issue that so it is off of that NIAX reader. It seems like it is. But I swiped it before and it didn't activate right away. So like I said, this is my first time using these Delta chargers. Again, I attempted before, but so now it appears that what you're having to do is swipe your card on the NIAX reader. And I shouldn't have to support these cables. These aren't like the heavier Huber plus Sooner cables used on the 350 kilowatt chargers. And then it finally connected. So this is a really long connection time, but here we see, but it is giving a decent amount of information, 54 kilowatts at 26%. And that's the other thing to note about these DC city chargers. We'll check that placard out in a second. But these are perfect for like this Hyundai Kona EV, the Bolt EV, the Kia Niro EV, all of those 200 amp or less charging vehicles. This is kind of the perfect option for it. Plus, it has power splitting. So, you know, like you can have a Bolt EV and a Nissan Leaf, both charging. Yes, the Delta, so it is a 200 amp, 100 kilowatt is what they rate it as. But this is a perfect as time as any to just grab some lunch before I finish the rest of the loop. Oof. The Route 1 will be mine. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of this interface, how dark it is. It's kind of hard to see. Wow, I didn't see anything. No information displayed, so that's kind of a weird thing. All right, well, here we are at an Electrify America Signet charger. So these are the 150 kilowatt units, so they're the lower power units, but I wanted to try and test them out anyway. Now you notice one of the heads is off or bad, so that can sometimes indicate things, but not always. Look up at the top, it's number 3. We are connected, and I just swiped. Now it's initiating. And I'm going by when the car says it starts, and the car just started now. So it looks like it started. Again, first time, be gentle letting go of that, because if it drops too fast, it will error out the session. But overall, started right up, just like it's supposed to, right at 53 kilowatts, just like everything else has been starting up, it seems like. All right, so I'm gonna actually just go ahead and move right now. There's a VW ID4 that wants to pull in. I'm not here to block chargers. We can go over the specs later, but yeah, so all of 2 minutes, finished. Yeah, Porsche, Mach-E. All right, well, this is unfortunate. This Freewire here with Rotten Robbie's appears like it's off or needs to be restarted. So let's see. The thing is, it seems like there's power here, so it almost seems like it's just the screen itself that's dead. I wonder what would happen if I would try to hook it up. Of course, this other car parked there makes this cord kind of a long reach. This is a heavier cord, but it's also, I've never had issues with it. Yeah, see that this is going to be too far to reach cross, and this car is parked in this spot. Alright, well, here's the Freewire. This is at a, a sizable gas station, so it always amazes me that they only have one here. Like I said, I've used these before. I guess technically maybe I could pull up a little bit more, but let's see how it wants me to start, because it yeah, so it's going to want me to insert my credit card first.
Authorizing.
So I will note that I actually
Thank you.
I actually like this method better when it comes to I didn't hear it click. There we go. I actually like this method better, where it gives you the option to pay upfront with a credit card, no membership, none of that. It just accepts your credit card, and then it gives you a certain period of time to initiate the charge. Now, this has taken a long time, but there it is. It just started. Now, I know a lot of people are huge proponents of plug-in charge, where you just pull the plug it in, you don't have anything to worry about. But I would say that I think is a feature that may be being forced on people who don't really necessarily care for it. And what I say by that is there's a lot of people who will only very occasionally take their cars on long trips, and when they do, they don't want just anybody having their credit card information on file for use for future transactions. They want to be able to swipe whatever card they have at the time, one time, pay for what they use, and not have that information on file with anybody anywhere else. It is a 300 amp CSAS, 200 amp CHAdeMO, but that's because CHAdeMO maxes out at 100 amps. It's not their fault. It's just the way the standard is currently used. But the thing is, these have a fairly large battery bank built into them. And so what that allows people to do is install these chargers at these more remote fueling stops, or maybe places that do not have high power connections or whatnot. And now these are more expensive up front, but what you pay up front, you save in demand charges over time. it is a hefty cable.
Thank you.
And they added a nice little voice character to it as well. So, and then of course, whenever you do use something like this, you know, I'm always sure to make sure I check my credit card statement afterwards just to make sure. But no membership, just walk right in and use it. 35 cents per kilowatt hour flat rate. Not that much worse than any of the other providers. Thank you, Freewire. This is something of a bust. Now, there are two ChargePoint Express 250s, and they're both listing themselves as the 62.5 kilowatt, which is basically just the standard. So this is that same CPE100 that I used. I want to see if there's a difference. How these start. Oops, cracked my card. I don't know my own strength. But I mean, this one should start really quick. I just want to do a walk around while I'm here. That Rivian's going to be here for a while, but I was looking at the screen, and like I said, both this CPE250 that the Bolt EV is on, and so this one's taking a while to start too. It looks like it, no, it's charging according to the car, so maybe it's just a CPE 100, I forgot how long these take, but yeah, it's the same IES Bosch station. So, but the one that the Rivian is using over there is also listing itself as a 62.5 kilowatts. So I'm gonna have to do a quick run because I thought there was another charger here that was supposed to be faster, but they might have taken it down already. ChargePoint does a lot of experimenting, and if they did that will save me, I think, a little bit of time on this route, though I would really like to be testing out their higher power chargers. Eureka? Is that it? Let's go check it out. All right, so I found it. So it wasn't at the headquarters building proper. I'm glad I decided to take a look around. I would have just assumed that the Rivian was there. So they call this one PL1. It's their 200 kilowatt. It looks like those are both CCS too. Yeah. Let's see. Card not recognized, but this is my card. So this is unfortunate. Now, I don't know. It's, I don't know if they're like reserving this. I know this is a experimental one, so maybe it's just free to use. Because they used to do these as free sessions, but then now it looks like nothing. Yeah. So, and I mean, this, I don't think it's because I used that other charger over there that they still have a session for me. And this is a 16 kilowatt AC unit. All right, so that's a bit disappointing. Yeah, it looks like the Polestar guy is actually backing up. I don't know if this is employee only, testing vehicle only. But yeah, I'm just going to head out for now. I'd love to be able to test out this new PL1 charger, this 200 kilowatt. Like I said, I think this is ChargePoint's new Cube, the one that will do massive amounts of power splitting across, you know, a dozen or more ChargePoint Express 250 chargers. So, you know, and with liquid cooling, I think theoretically up to 450 or 500 kilowatts. So, it's one that I definitely love to be able to test out, especially with some of the newer vehicles I'm going to be getting for review, just to validate to see that things are working. But otherwise, yeah, I'm just going to head out now. I already have the next charger plugged in, and let's hit the road. All right, well, this is the same sort of Signet charger that I used at Electrify America. Again, the Huber plus Sooner cables, so I have to support them as I activate. But it's EVgo, so I'm not using my phone app with my other hand. I'm using my EVgo card. So they're wanting me to plug in first. I'll say this, these cables feel a lot lighter than the other Huber plus Sooner cables. So now it's connecting, a little bit different than the Electrify America experience. I'm still lifting up the cable just in case. But it's connecting. Who knows how long it will take. I just heard it latch, so hopefully I had enough up force on it. But I know these Signet chargers can take a little while to activate, so they are a little bit on the slower side. But overall, I do like them in terms of their displays, what they show. And then, of course, the fact of the matter that they're 500 amps. And, you know, a true 500 amps, it seems like, unlike Electrify America, who kind of fudges the numbers from time to time. Yeah, it looks like the car's activated. I'm going to let it go a little bit. So it's lighter, but there's a lot more slack. No problems. So, unlike Electrify America, EVgo seems to be able to hit their targets in terms of power dispensing a lot better. No problems. Again, just jumped right up to 52 kilowatts, no issue. If this had been a Cadillac Lyriq or a GMC Hummer EV, it should have ramped straight up to 500 amps. You know, any car on the market right now, this will charge it as fast as any other public charger. So, yeah, no real issues here. You know, these are very capable chargers. Just looking at the placard, right? It's the Signet High Power is what they refer to it as, the 350K. And this is what's interesting is they don't break it down here, but they break it down in the spec sheet. It can't provide 500 amps at 920 volts. It can provide 500 amps up to about 700 volts, but it can provide up to 920 volts, but at a lower amperage. So, but either way, yeah, these are hot stuff, and I'm liking them a lot. All right, well, I just realized why this area seems so close is we're right near the Ames Visitor Center for NASA. So I'm going to go ahead and just head over there. You know, I think ChargePoint has some redemption to do. All right, there we go. Yeah, see, I don't like how it just dies out of this. I wanted to know what happened here. But I guess not. So, but this is a nice stop if you're traveling up through the South Bay area, South Peninsula. So, good job, EVgo, and thank you, GM. All right, well, hopefully this is some redemption for ChargePoint. So, let's see. Couldn't really remember the spacing on these chargers. Like Tritium chargers, the Veefil chargers, when they're acting well, they activate fast, and yeah, so it's 25 cents. Oh, it's 25 cents a minute now. And you have to press and see it's already activated. Let's see. It'll indicate on here. So it's already charging. So yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of a few seconds. You probably even hear that really high-pitched Tritium whine. You know, I'm starting to think I could probably identify DC chargers based on their high-pitched squeal, because this is very unique from the high-pitched squeal you hear from the ABB chargers, in particular the ABB high-power chargers. But yeah, so we're here at NASA. So thank you, NASA. They have a nice visitor parking. I've been here at nighttime, but yeah, they have 8 of these 125 amp Tritium chargers. Yes, that are loud, but it used to be 25 cents a kilowatt hour, which was a much better deal. Now it's 25 cents a minute, which is a little bit worse because you're getting less than a kilowatt hour per minute. But yeah, Veefil is the sort of the 50 kilowatt line, but Tritium is a charging company out of Australia, and they make some really good chargers. Like I said, I have had some issues with these, but overall, if they're managed and they're maintained, they're usually not that bad. They're very user-friendly, especially for small battery, slower charging electric vehicles, something like the Bolt EV. Everything works, everything exactly as it's designed, so yeah, let's get ready to go. All right, well, here we are at another one of these EVgo chargers. These are BTC Power. They're either the high power chargers, or I guess technically they could be the, well, actually they're listing as 50 kilowatt. Somewhere they were listing these as the 200 kilowatt. So that's interesting. I wonder if these are maybe shared power. Maybe that's why. But I know some people have complained about the amount of power that's going into them, or coming out of them, I guess I should say. So I'm not supporting this cable at all. I believe this should be a full 200 amp cable capable of 100 kilowatt charging. But yeah, these are all labeled as 50 kilowatts. So I can tell pretty quick if it's limited to 125 or 150 amp at least. And this is at least 150 amp. So 53 kilowatts straight away on the Bolt EV. So this label is wrong. Now I can't verify whether the 200 kilowatt listed on PlugShare is correct, but I can say for a fact that these aren't just 50 kilowatts. So, but yeah, it started right up. If I get a faster charging EV at some point to test with, then I'll be able to see exactly what these are capable of. Now, these are, yeah, this I think is their modular one. Now they're saying 125 amp on this, but like I said, I know for a fact this is currently outputting more than 125 amp. So the only other thing I can think of is maybe these are shared 100 kilowatt chargers, so up to 200 amps, and as long as I'm the only one on here, I can have up to 200 amps. That would be my guess. But yeah, I'm not sure why there's such a huge disparity. But either way, 2, 4, 6, I think this is actually a very good number of chargers to have at a single location. All right, well, the Volta charger says it's in use, which I believe, but it's about 20 miles or 20 minutes, I guess, away from here. So I'm just going to go ahead and unplug now. We're at half a battery. That should be able to get us up into the North State, or I should say the North Peninsula, past Sausalito. So I don't need to really fret over any of this. 36 to 50. All right. Thank you. 9 minutes. Let's go. Well, I was getting prepared to go on about how it's a problem to have free access charging because people will abuse it by using it all the time. But I ended up having someone who wasn't even charging. Now, that might have been the unit that was broken. I'm not sure. There are 2 of them. But either way, I wasn't really counting on it because it's also a matter of preferred parking. And then you'll notice that just how crowded this parking space is. That's another thing that I really disagree with preferred parking spaces going to electric vehicles. And then when you have a busy day at these shopping marts, it's you know, it just exacerbates things. So you want the chargers, like these spots down here are all empty. Nobody wants them, right? So these are the spots that you should be putting chargers, not the ones right at the storefront. I mean, I get that what Volta is looking for is advertising revenue, you know, from their chargers, a big display that draws attention, but I don't know that it necessarily gets more attention there than it would out here. You're not next to the storefront, but you're next to the roadway, right? Or you're next to the sidewalk, which seems to me to maybe be just as valid as, you know, of a location, and it's going to be far more accessible than, you know, these parking spaces, which appear to be privileged for EV owners, right? And if you're lucky enough to get there first, then you get there first, and then you get what, you know, you get the spot that you want to get. All right, so here we are at what I would call the OG. So these are the Terra ABB Terra. Sorry, these are the ABB Terra 5.3. So see, already active, already charging. Now these are 50 kilowatt units, 125 amp limited. But these, like I said, they're really the OG chargers in the sense that when the Chevrolet Bolt EV first came out, if you wanted to travel long distances in California, these are pretty much the only chargers that would facilitate it. EVgo had them placed along highway routes. A lot of times they had what they called their Freedom chargers, where they were paired with CHAdeMO only, so there would be just one of these units. Now, the very first charger I used on this loop, the BTC Power L3R, that was also kind of prevalent back when these were out, but that BTC Power unit was almost always 100 amp. This was the good stuff. This was the good juice, 125 amps, true 50 kilowatt charger. Still couldn't max out a car like the Chevrolet Bolt EV, but it was decent enough for about 200 miles per hour of charging range. Every 30 minute session would add 23.5 kilowatt hours. So ask me how I know. See, so this is also reporting an error when you're using that to release. So it shouldn't. It's just saying, hey, look, it was let go. But yeah, good stuff. Did you eat paint chips as a kid? Why? Oh boy. ChargePoint Express 250. One of my favorite new chargers. These ones are unlinked. They're 62.5 kilowatt. But just look at how fast these activate. As long as I don't step on my cord. Yep, already charging. Well, the car says maybe a second or two for it to lock, but yep. But yeah, so here we are, charging right away. And then it should ramp right up to a little over 50 kilowatt. Yeah, there you go. These are, I think, a really nice, clean, iconic design. They can be colored in different ways. We've seen them from like 7-Eleven or, you know, whatnot. They can be badged so that the end user gets to decide what they look like. And yeah, I'm just overall impressed with these. Like I said, how quickly they they ramp up, how quickly they connect, and the power that they're capable of, not having to support the cord even on these older EVs. One criticism that I think is pretty valid of the Chevrolet Bolt EV is that upper end of the battery does take quite a while to charge up to, especially right now, since, like I said, there aren't really any chargers left that I want to test out along the route to get home, unless I want to drive like another 150 miles out of the way, eat my salad and then do other green things and then leave. But probably we're already up to about $15 for this session, so I'll probably leave at about 75 to 80% battery. So this seemed to accept it just fine. Almost $17. So these are pretty expensive. That's, I think, the one big detraction from these ChargePoint units is just how much they cost per kilowatt hour. I mean, this would be almost the same as charging like an EV truck on the Electrify America network. So I could have probably planned that out in better in terms of where I needed to charge up the most. But I wanted to test it out anyway, and then this is a nice location, so we got to hit the road. 2 hours and 41 minutes is what they're saying. 10:30 arrival. I think I know a shortcut that will get me home sooner and maybe shorter by about 20 to 30 miles maybe. Looks like the shortcut did save about 20 minutes and about 20 miles. So let me know what you think of this testing, what you think of checking the different chargers for compatibility, and as always, thank you for watching.